Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 FPS. I am Oatmeal, and today I will be playing the Professor. And with me today is the lovely...
Hi, I'm Candle, and today I'm going to be playing one uh kind of mischievous deity, Daisy.
Yep. So, it has been, uh, it's been a minute uh, since they, interacted at the, uh, end of The Last Wish.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and the professor's sure been up to a lot in that time.
Absolutely. Um, and, well, I don't. He's kind of staying put right now. um, but the
Ah,
ellipsis is
yes,
not
I remember.
difficult for Daisy to find.
Nope. Um, no, that probably not actually. Hey, since the ellipsis has been sticking around Billstown at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So yeah, Daisy's been checking in on their friends at the moment, making the rounds between like being out and about because they care about these people and they helped and they want to make sure that they're actually doing okay because the last thing that they all went through together was kind of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And different people are handling that to different levels of effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even just within the game, that much was obvious.
Yeah. So this time around, I think they've sort of spontaneously decided that they're going to drop in on the professor.
Hmm.
And now I need to roll to see how stupid they're going to be and how much self-control they have. Thankfully, their wisdom modifier is a lot better this time, but
Mm-hmm.
ooh, okay. I'm gonna say that's a very high wisdom modifier they've got now. So
Mm.
even though that's an 8 on the dice, that's an 18 total on wisdom.
Ooh.
So I don't think they're going
Eh.
to try and sneak into the ellipsis without the
Nah.
ellipsis's permission.
Yeah, I don't think so. Than 18. um, Yeah, so in that case, I mean, you just have the ellipsis on uh, what is probably to Daisy a random street in Villestown. Um, it sticks out a little because it's Reelkind. Uh, but yeah, just there's a box there. There's a phone box.
Yep. So I think instead of trying to just uh I had to roll impulse control to not just like slip in like through the walls and try and like sneak up on the professor and instead take the front door.
Mm-hmm. That would have been
Um
interesting anyway because of the dimensions.
yeah, that's why I'm glad that worked out.
Mm.
But I think what they're going to do is they're going to like sort of like knock kind of gently on the front door. They're still being somewhat quiet and they're going to whisper to the ellipsis. Um
Hello, Infinity Box. Can you let me inside? I kind of want to see the professor and maybe get, uh, like, jump scare him, if that's all right.
Uh, um, you, uh, hear what might be an unnecessary noise of a like lock unclicking.
They're going to take that as a yes. So with a
Yeah.
grin
Thank you.
and they're just gonna like come in through the front door and try and find the professor. I'm gonna roll stealth.
Okay. I have an idea of where he is, so this is amusing to me. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they finally don't have nerfed modifiers.
Oh, yeah. No, that's very good. So, uh, so yeah, stealth, you're able to come in without making, any noise, and, the professor who is in the console room does not notice you. He is in fact, uh, like, he's got pieces of the console sort of like open, like the panels off and the inner workings exposed, and he's like laying on the floor underneath it, like when you like work on a car, that sort of thing.
Oh no!
And there's like tools and parts strewn about the floor.
Oh god. Okay. Uh, um. Hmm. I think. God no. Okay. I don't think they're going to like be able to resist that. So they're going to try and like stealth. They like stealth their way under the panel, like, and then just like come up next to the professor and just oh,
um, uh, I'm pretty sure what happens is he startles, like jumps and hits his head on the console. um, because he wasn't expecting there to be another person in here. Um, and uh, it like takes him a second, but he like uh gets out from the little spot he was in, and like sits up properly. Hello.
and Daisy's laughing a little bit, like that kind of that was such a great reaction kind of thing, but they are like also kind of checking that you didn't hurt yourself like too badly. But given that seem fine, they're just
That was hilarious.
How did you? He like looks at the door, and then he like, uh, he has a little motion like he noticed something suddenly, and he kind of like stares at nothing, and then he shakes his head like, "Come on."
yeah, Daisy's just gonna grin and
The Infinity Bucks let me in.
Mm-hmm.
I did ask permission first.
Yes, apparently. Well, good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. How have you been?
they're just sort of like probably gonna like jump up and like sit on one of the consoles.
Mm-hmm. Uh, he uh, gets up a little bit just to make sure, like, they're not gonna, um, knock anything over or like nudge any of the controls, but I think he probably like stands up and stretches. Oh, I've been all right. Been up to well, I guess quite a few things since last time.
Oh,
Um, yes. Well, I had a sort of uh, interesting time at a ski resort, and then sort of a um, mixed sort of. First, if it was fun, and then it was kind of terrible time at a museum.
That does sound like a lot.
Mm. I mean, it's
But
not out of the norm for me, to be perfectly honest.
it isn't.
No, I I tend to go on uh, adventures fairly frequently.
I am going to roll an insight on that because they're like, I'm a little bit unsure whether you're telling the truth right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. You're really not rolling great today, and your modifiers are just carrying you.
Mm-hmm. 17. He wasn't like uh purposefully lying so much as like the word adventure is being stretched very much here. He does go on adventures frequently, that is true. But these two experiences that he's referring to are not so much like let's go explore a thing, maybe fight some skeletons, come home with a prize, but more like harrowing things that happened.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so yeah, Daisy sort of like cocked their head to the side to kind of gauge the professor, and then
That still sounds like a lot. You sure you're doing okay? That's even, well, you're still mortal.
That's true. Um, been reminded of that lately. But, I mean, I'm alright now. I wasn't maybe necessarily alright at the time, but I've had time to, recover.
with that insight roll from before, can I tell if he's telling the truth?
Uh, he seems to believe this. Um, these are things that are maybe not going to, uh, be easily forgotten, but also they are not maybe actively troubling him right now.
Yeah, okay. And if he's like at least acknowledging the fact that it was rough and that he's gotten better, that's still better than denial outright. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gonna be enough for Daisy to sort of um like yeah, they're satisfied with that response. And um
Well, that's good at least. You, um, it, you'd been resting then now?
Um, hmm. Yes and no. I was up until recently, and at which point I have been working rather a bit to try and get the ellipsis working properly again. There was a bit of a incident related to the museum wherein she was run a bit thin and just kind of exacerbated some old damage, old systems in disrepair, and I'm effectively grounded for now.
The the infinity box. Is she okay?
She's okay. She's not hurt. It's more like, how somebody might feel after they have to sprint for a while they're still healing from an injury or something. It's just kind of not great for you.
Oh, sounds like you both need the rest then.
She definitely does. And he gives the console a pat.
Yeah, the look that Daisy's fixing you is the I don't really believe you. Like that kind of like deadpan expression.
I I mean it. Look, I had about a month where I was there wasn't a lot I could do, and by the end of it I was getting pretty restless. I still feel a little bit of that now. I don't uh I'm trying to take it easy and not uh maybe actively put my life in danger right now because I'm trying to get this done. Uh, Gestures to the mess on the floor. But I'm not just going to, I don't know, just laze about for a lot. It's just not me.
Yeah, that's.
They're like you can watch their face go through like a whole bunch of emotions of like this this is the like okay yeah like that warring of I get that but also like rest is important and just that like eternal frustration of people that you meet that are like that and have to particularly because yeah they're a god of childhood so they've probably met a few kids that are like they've had to convince that no you do need to rest and take care of yourself like kind of thing and they're just like
Right. There.
kind of how do I take this.
Yeah, you have to go to bed. You can't play all hours of the day. Bedtime exists for a reason.
Yeah but it's harder to argue with an adult.
Yes, it is. uh, Absolutely.
So I think eventually they just sort of stick their tongue out at you and just
I still don't like it.
All right, well, I'll take your opinion into consideration.
Good. They just sort of like nod their head decisively. Like they know they're not changing your mind, but they wanted to vocalize that they weren't happy.
Yeah, yeah. So how about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been out and exploring and
Mm-hmm.
seeing more of this continent and making making new friends and seeing old ones.
Mm.
I dropped in on Specs and Written and Joy
Mm-hmm.
and lots, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Yeah, it's been good. Um, it's been a bit weird too.
Hmm. I can imagine. Uh, Even besides the other factors, just losing that much time can be very disorienting.
Mm, It's a lot of stuff changed in between when I was awake last and now, and it's
Mm-hmm.
was hard to kind of catch up with the state that I was in before.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
Feels like I'm still learning a lot.
And they sort of just shrug sheepishly.
Well, sure, if you're not one of those deities who can just pull information from the universe, one of those omniscient types, then you've got to just learn things like the rest of us.
What is it with everyone thinking that all deities can just see everything?
They look kind of put out because this is not the first time someone's lost. Are you omniscient? And they're like, "Ha! You think I'm omniscient?"
No, just a stereotype, I suppose. At least a lot of the gods I've met either were or wanted to pretend to be or appear to be omniscient. It is very impressive, um, but eh.
I suppose so. Just a lot of those sort of deities aren't very personal.
Mm, mm, that's true.
But no, I um can't see everything. I have to learn same as well, I guess you guys, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I figured.
They just shrug, but
But I mean, I am just a minor deity, so I'm not as powerful as a lot of the others can get.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I know. I have personally encountered some of the more powerful ones.
Hmm. That sure sounds like a interesting story.
Uh, Several interesting stories, yes.
So, did you piss them off or did they piss you off?
just sort of like head in the like on the chins, like hand on the yeah, like chin resting on their hand, kind of like do spill. Like they're kind of curious.
Mm-hmm. Uh, hmm. Let's see. One of them, uh, the one that I can definitely say was an elder god, that one pissed me off. Um, Granted, that's easy to do when, it's a lot harder to do it the other way around with an elder god because their perception is so massive that they hardly register mortals as individual beings sometimes. So, whether or not it also got annoyed with me in return is debatable.
Mm, probably not.
Probably not, but it doesn't really matter anymore. Um, the
Their
other.
eyebrows go up at that.
Oh. He pauses, like, you may ask a question.
Um, hmm. Are you going to ask a question or no? No, no, they're kind of curious to hear about the others first.
That's fair. Uh, the other one, at least, that comes to the top of my mind, uh, I I pissed her off. Um, I stole something from uh, this this planet that she was on. I wasn't aware that she was there or her followers. And I wasn't aware of the value of the very pretty rock I had taken just off the ground. I didn't realize that it was part of her plan to conquer reality. But I sure as heck found out later.
One of those gods. You sure do lead an interesting life.
Hmm. That I do.
I don't know that many mortals that have managed to, well, do as much as you seem to have done.
Well, I am very old. Older than most mortals.
Hmm. I suppose you are. I was kind of curious about that. I've never met anyone like you.
Mm.
Your time stream is really tangled.
Oh, yes. Well, that would, that, well, you already know that I have some, at least with the ellipsis, some manipulation over time. But that part, that would be the time travel.
Ah. Hmm. Okay. I don't know if I've met anyone else who's time traveled before, so I don't know if that matches up. I suppose it would.
Hmm. Well, and then I've, even among time travelers, to be perfectly fair, had a particularly, I may still have a particularly messy timeline. For example, I've crossed my own timeline, which is, you're really not supposed to do that. Um, really only because of what I am that I was able to even survive the experience, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
And they're just kind of blinking at you, like time travel's a little bit outside of their
Yeah.
outside of their wheelhouse. So like they can like time is enough of their own domain that they can
Mm.
like see these kind of things, but time travel is definitely like they don't know the ins and out of time travel, so they're just like there's this kind of expression of huh and oh god, are you okay? kind of thing.
He laughs. Thankfully, well, fortunately for me, I had, um, uh, I, uh, my time traveling and being able to, uh, withstand some time travel related oddities is not a mistake or a coincidence. Um, since I am, how to put it, uh, a direct descendant of the uh, first mortals to invent time travel.
There's this thing called a vacation. Have you ever heard of it?
Uh, yes, I try to go on vacation sometimes. uh, oh, hey, one second. All right, I thought somebody was trying to get my attention, but it might have just been the cat. Um,
Good.
uh, he goes, well, the last time I tried to go on vacation, I ended up attacked by living statues, and the time before that, I got attacked by vampires, and the time before that, uh, what even happened at the time before that? Oh, and then there was this one time, where I went to, um, uh, a carnival, and there was a little girl giving out geases.
Oh, yeah. Daisy winces at that, and
Yeah, okay. In my defense, I thought it was a good idea at the time. And I didn't have the best frame of reference to know it wasn't.
Yes, I realized that. mm,
It really messed that up, hey?
uh, not going to lie and say that wasn't a bad idea. But you were also in a. Mm, well, not in the best state to be making decisions like that.
I wasn't ever supposed to do things like that. I was trying to still fulfill my purpose in the best way I could,
Mm,
but it never worked.
mm-hmm. Wasn't a lot that could, get through that gem besides wish, huh?
It's what I could do was finicky. I couldn't always, it wasn't always reliable. It,
Mm-hmm.
um, so Wish seemed to work more often, and
Makes
at
sense.
least what I could make was reliable then.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense, given what I know now.
Yeah,
And they just kind of shrug, like, oh, that's. There's still a lot of emotions they feel about that.
Hmm.
I got rid of them all.
Of what all?
The things I created.
Oh, I did wonder about that.
I mm, tried to help in a couple of cases, but it was kind of just easier to.
They kind of like make a poof
Hmm.
gesture with their hands.
Mm-hmm. Remove the artifact from the situation first.
Yeah. Not my best decision.
No. Hmm. Did you
Uh, mm,
did you know we would uh, see your memories when that was happening? When that, I guess, when I read that statue inscription.
Do you think I would have let you guys do that if I'd known?
Hmm. He looks thoughtful and honestly, like, genuinely uncertain.
No, I put it together when it was already happening, what was going to happen. But I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm. In oddly, perhaps, I can relate to not quite having a choice in sharing some of one's worst memories with people who don't. You really don't want to burden with that sort of thing.
You have.
I. Hmm, a long time ago, uh, some people messed with my memory. Um, uh, Inserted false memories, um, just sort of rearranged things, messed with recall and order and cataloging, and just the whole thing. And more recently, that was a year, 2 years ago now, it a sort of catalyzing event made it impossible to ignore any longer. And some friends inadvertently were able to temporarily meld their minds with mine in a way where they could see what was in my head and help me sort things out, because I simply couldn't do it myself.
That's horrible. Not the not the friends helping you
Mm.
sort things out though. That's I'm glad that worked, but
Mm-hmm.
to memories are the things that define your identity.
I know. To what I am, at times are, memories are some of the most important possessions we have. It's everything to us. If the ultimate punishment is to be made so that nobody remembers you, so that you have no place in history.
Yeah. Mm, Daisy looks a little bit pensive at that. Like they're thinking about their own um
Mm.
their own stuff, but then there's sort of like a kind of trying to like put things together and kind of just sort of side eye and
Were you being punished?
Ah, they. Hmm. In the instance in which they messed with my memories, no. And I was punished later, but not in that manner. They opted for a lighter sentence than that. So, yes and no.
yeah.
But instead
Daisy
of.
just looks kind of upset by that.
Yeah. He's got a kind of, like. Kind of a, grim, smile. Like, instead of being forgotten by everybody, which, tell you what, for a bunch of
That's
mortals is very difficult to pull off. I was instead only made to be forgotten by two of my best friends at the time.
I don't think I like your people.
No, I don't either. Stars knows they don't
Even
like me.
even if you did do something wrong, I don't know if anyone deserves that.
Well, did something wrong. In their eyes, I did. But, Well, what I did wrong was honestly very similar to what you, quote unquote, did wrong. Try to save people who couldn't save themselves and fight against something you didn't necessarily have a chance at beating, but try anyway. And, well, for that attempt, for interfering, I was also forced to take a different form and exiled.
Yeah, okay. I just rolled a wisdom and it was pretty good. So no, Daisy's handling that fairly well. In fact, I'm just gonna put it in the roll zone.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. No, they still make a face because and just sort of like don't say anything for a little bit before
I, you all right now?
I am. It was a long time ago.
Did it?
Hmm?
I suppose that not necessarily. It it doesn't work the same because we're not the same. So I suppose it wouldn't be a good question anyway.
Mm, well, why don't you ask and we'll see.
Did you? Does it make you? Did it get better? What happened to you?
It did. It took a lot of work, but it did. I was at least I wasn't I wasn't transformed to a say form of reduced power and ability as you were, but I was forced to take a at the time weaker and just different form. I looked humanoid. And it took a while to get used to that body and that face and to not be resentful. And to not be annoyed at suddenly being weak again after spending centuries honing my abilities. But I got new abilities over time, and even when I discovered that they had taken the knowledge of how to operate the ellipsis, taken those memories from me, I learned them back myself by essentially taking her apart and putting her back together again, fixing things as I went.
I will never stop being amazed by the resilience and adaptability of mortals.
He does seem like uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Not he does seem to like that.
Concept deities don't really grow, um, or only as much as their concept will allow.
Yes.
Can make it hard to adapt.
Yes.
I suppose I'm one of the luckier ones, but also even even I have limits on how much I can change.
Perhaps. You have, though, shown much of that resilience yourself, I think. And perhaps others would call it stubbornness, but I find that an endearing quality.
I suppose so. It helps to be adaptable in my role.
Oh, I suppose it would.
Kids are very spontaneous.
Absolutely. They are tiny agents of chaos.
They are. That's part of what I love about them.
Yes. I think he's going to roll insight, slightly belated insight, because, oh god, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got a low roll. Doesn't matter. Prof, for the love of. Alright, what's your modifier? That's what I thought it was. He was trying to figure out how, if or how his being like really blasé about his past and all the horrible shit that's happened to him was affecting Daisy, because some people don't take it well when he does that. And so he
Fair
has
enough.
he has at least the presence of mind to try and check, but he's a dummy, so he only gets an 8 in insight.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Daisy's deception modifier now is a +10. I
You what? Say it again. Candle. Hello. Ah, oh, darn it. Candle. All right. We're on standby.
Hello?
Hello.
I had to change my internet connection over to one that's a little less spotty.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool. All right. I was saying that I can probably give the professor that they don't look distressed as
Mm.
much as they look contemplative, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can get anything more than that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Nah, contemplative wouldn't stop him. So. Uh. Uh. Let's see. Um. Daisy.
Can I try rolling an insight on Professor, by the way?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cool. All right. Yeah, they will like sort of perk up and
Uh. Hmm. I'm not sure whether to tell you this.
that was their insight, by the way, on the professor while he was telling them that information from before.
Ah. Um. Uh. Yeah, it's one of those things where like it is um it was bad enough that it's still uh like troubling and something he can get mad about. It's been long enough ago and worked through that he can be humorous about it. Um on the other hand, part of his being so uh blasé and casual about horrible stuff is clearly a coping mechanism. Um,
Mm,
it probably something along the lines of reducing it to reducing the idea to something that can be uh, dealt with easier. If you make it
mm.
smaller,
Yeah,
it's a little uh,
kind of detaching it from yourself a little bit so that you can acknowledge it as a whole.
yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
Um,
but it's also like
anyway,
it is also like uh, things that uh, like formative events that do um, inform a lot of professors' current values and
mm,
motivations and such like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Professor was asking a question or was saying something.
Yeah. He said, I don't know if I should tell you this.
Well, I'm not gonna force you to.
No, no. Hmm. Well, I suppose there's not. Well, not much reason not to. Uh. Well. Hmm. Perhaps I should. Perhaps I should start by saying that you're. Lucky isn't quite the word. Uh. Hmm. Fortunate to have been able to show me that you truly mean well, because I can fully admit that I have a very strong prejudice against deities, partially born out of personal experience and partially out of the culture I grew up with.
You?
No. They just sort of like grin, kind of like, oh, I had not gotten that impression at all, kind of like sarcasm kind of thing. Also, I want to just mention that they've probably at this point sort of like picked something up off of the console that they can play with in their hands. Probably something that lets them like make some sort of like noise as they like flick it or like twist it or something like that.
Oh yeah, just imagine like a bop it, like
Yeah, yeah,
like you've probably got a lever that clicks, like a twisty thing that does something else, and like you've probably just got a piece of interface there.
yeah. And they're just like click, 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 click.
So he registers the sarcasm, uh, uh, and does kind of give like a wry grin. Well, I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
necessarily trying to hide it.
You didn't trust me.
No. Um, and I wasn't really especially inclined to help you either. For a long time. Um, Possibly longer than you realize.
But you did.
I did, eventually. Uh, Even as we were going through the temple, though, I was prepared to call the whole thing off if, if the further information we got didn't convince me that you weren't too dangerous to be let loose, essentially.
I wouldn't have blamed you for that, if that's what you had picked.
Hmm. It very nearly was, because I'm very stubborn myself, And this is one matter in which it is difficult to change my mind. Only the past few years, out of 700 some, have I encountered any gods that I didn't despise.
They kind of just sort of like flutter their eyelashes and oh shucks kind of like like hand motion kind of thing before they sort of like their expression becomes more serious and um
That is, well, that is a fair enough opinion to hold, considering, depending on, well, especially given the experiences you've described with deities before. So, no, I still can't say that I blame you.
I don't think you would, judging by your personality. But it was it was I understood as I saw the memories better and better, but well, without to maybe make a long story short, it wasn't until the last memory we saw that I fully changed my mind. Because I was not perceiving what I usually think of when I picture a deity, but what I observed was a person who speaks for and fights for those who can't speak or fight for themselves, despite impossible odds, because you've got to do something, even if you lose, even if it kills you, because it matters. Things like that. The safety of children, the sanctity of childhood.
I, my purpose at the very core of my being is to try and allow children the opportunity to grow into the best versions of themselves. It is something I cannot change. It is the very center of my being, for better and for worse. I cannot change that.
Well, I wouldn't ask you to. Wouldn't want you to. It's that's a value I can wholly agree with.
I'm glad. even if I don't know if it's necessarily helped as much as I wish it had.
Well, hard to help when you're not allowed to use what abilities you have.
Perhaps.
I'm gonna let you roll another insight if you'd like, because you've kind of touched upon something that they've been holding back a little bit.
Worse. Got a 6.
Mm. Yeah, that. Ah, no, that's
No.
not gonna be enough. But
No.
I'm like, I'm. I want roll again, honestly, because
Alright.
like this is just because of the
It's.
topic of conversation.
Uh-huh. Okay. 17.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah, they're what they're thinking of is not actually to do with their like lack of abilities in the duel.
Mm.
Even though that's part of it, there is um there is part of it that is aimed at themselves and something they didn't do when they could have.
Mm. I think, he just looks at them and seems thoughtful, uh, and frowns a little bit and tilts his head. Would you like to talk about it?
Don't know what you're talking about.
There's something else besides being hindered by the jewel.
I suppose just what ifs. If I suppose it's kind of useless to think of the what ifs though, because I wouldn't have been able to go against my nature. But I still wonder if things would have worked out for the better if I had been able to.
Hmm. What are you thinking about specifically?
I lied to Balthazar when he asked if I knew how to get me out.
You told him you didn't know?
Yes, but I did. I knew I knew the condition that she placed on me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't bring myself to let a child get hurt because of me.
I see. When
But if
they...
I'd told him, then maybe all those who all those who suffered and died when Paralysis came, wouldn't have.
Maybe. Although Arena seemed really keen on having that war. Even if you'd been released, she might have tried something else.
No, that was a different one.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't know if I ever would have been able to stop her and the war that started it, but the one that Paralysis started was over me.
if he'd challenged the champion, he would have gotten hurt.
Possibly. I didn't know if he would have been able to do it, but I knew he would try.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's difficult to say. It has already happened, and so we know one outcome for certain. But if things possibly had... If one thing had changed, how many other things would have been changed along with it? It is not easy to know. And I'll admit to also having doubts about what ifs. So I understand the feeling.
Is it weird that I find getting advice from people like you who are mortal easier than from my own kind?
I don't think so. I think if you... I think with the exception of something only an immortal could conceive of or have experience with, something about how to maintain a immortal committed relationship or something like that. I could only speculate. But as for other advice, honestly, I think mortals tend to have a better point of view because we have had to learn things, well, the hard way more often than not, or off of somebody else's mistakes that we learned about. Whereas immortals, less commonly face consequences for mistakes and misjudgments.
Hmm.
Especially when the fate of mortals is at risk from the fallout. think we're a little better down here at judging how that sort of thing can shake out than those who are a little too far away to see all the details.
I suppose oh, that's a good way of looking at it.
I could also just be full of myself.
Well, I don't necessarily know if I agree with it 100%, but I think your perspective is valuable. I do agree with you that mortals' perspectives is valuable for seeing things in a way that we can't, and that not many deities take that into account.
Mm-hmm. As for the what ifs, you may already know this, but it is best to eventually just let them go. I mean, take it from a time traveler, somebody who, in many cases, can go back and change the way things happened. It doesn't work quite the way that people would like to think it does. And even when it could, most times it's better to let things be what they are.
I suppose it's not a great thing to dwell on, since I know that I wouldn't have been able to change it anyway, since I cannot change my nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it'll ever stop being a sore point.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Does it still hurt you, the
Those,
things you've gone through?
yeah. I'm not sure how to answer that. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no.
Well, I'm glad that you've been able to move past the ones that you can.
Thank you. And I hope you can do the same.
Me too. I don't know if I will be able to. Like I said, it works differently for deities. But I'd like to think that maybe I can.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
They've gone back to like clicking the piece that's in their hand, but it's a little slower this time. Like they are still just thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they're gonna like sort of like grin and
You really are a remarkable mortal. Here I was coming to make sure that you were okay, and instead you're making sure I'm okay.
Well, thank you. I try to take care of my friends.
uh their grin gets like really big
Mm-hmm.
and and then they just go,
Why, Professor, and here I thought that you didn't like deities. Are your morals slipping?
No, just my prejudice.
Well, maybe that's a good thing then. I've rarely found that prejudice leads to anything good.
Yes. Yes, I have to admit, coming to Satori has uh, drastically uh, challenged at least that particular worldview.
Yeah,
Uh,
this.
It's not to say that all the gods here are nice, but my goodness, why are so many of them decent people? Who would have known?
I think it has something to do with the fundamental nature of this place. It's so different from anywhere else I've been. The people here, the tunes,
Hmm.
being from a land and being created from a place of creativity and wonder,
Hmm.
it's not surprising that the gods that they spawn also share a lot of those qualities.
Yes, this does make sense.
Okay, maybe you also just haven't met the right deities.
Possibly. Had pretty horrible luck up until now, though, if that's the case. But,
Hmm,
not impossible.
I suppose. Hmm. You do seem like the sort to attract trouble, though.
Ah, uh, yeah, I can confirm that. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places.
Hmm.
After all,
Maybe.
I tend to be sticking my nose into, uh, other people's business and trouble, uh, rather than, uh, something that's doing fine on its own and perfectly peaceful.
Yeah. Given that, I'm not surprised you haven't met that many pleasant deities. They tend to not cause trouble, funnily enough.
Mm.
Of course, I don't know what that says about me, because I cause trouble.
Well, might just be the nature of your domain.
Yes. How did you describe it? Kids
Agents
are,
of tiny agents of chaos. That was it.
mm, which I suppose would make me a large agent of chaos.
Ha! Yes. Hmm.
I'm keeping that title.
Oh. Well, good.
Daisy, deity of childhood, and large agent of chaos.
Uh, hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad I met you.
Hmm. I had my doubts, but I'm glad I met you too.
Their grin kind of grins like kind of like widens again, and there is like genuine like they are really happy with that, but then it also like extends again too much, and they're just the oh, don't be modest. You love me.
Uh,
Just sort of like kind of like lean in kind of thing.
uh, no, what will the other time czars think?
Ah, I know. It's a complete blasphemy, but I don't think I care what they think.
Well, that's alright. Neither do I. Hmm. I suppose I should. Uh. Suppose I should visit, Joy soon. Thankfully, there's a teleportation circle in Good Time Town.
Mm, I thought she'd like that. She's um been missing you guys, I think. And you
Hmm.
didn't hear it from me, but she might have some things that she's been wanting to give you guys.
Oh.
All right, I need to see whether they have self constraint, like self restraint, or not.
uh.
Yeah, okay, I think that's going to be enough. That's a 10. And that'll be plus like their wisdom modifier.
Yeah.
Um they're not going to show off what they got from Joy because that would give away what she's got for the others. So
Uh-huh.
instead uh they're just going to like you can sort of see the indecision on their face, like the I want to share but I also don't want to spoil the surprise kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh, he laughs and, I think leans against the console a bit, uh, before, pushing off and, turning to the, interior door. Uh, would you join me for a drink before you go?
Oh, yes, love that. One question though.
Hmm.
What is this thing?
And they hold out the thing that they've been fiddling with.
Oh. Uh. Hmm. Hang on. I know it. This one's the... Oh, it's upside down. That's why. Um... Uh... Transdimensional oscillation regulator.
Oh, neat. I suppose you need this then.
And they're gonna put it back when they found it.
Yes.
It, um, well, it's very fun to play with. I was definitely not considering taking it with me.
Oh. Uh... Hmm. You know, let's see, tell you what, I can probably find some spare, uh, switches and levers in the workshop and just kind of bolt them together. Uh, that way, you'd have something to fiddle with without risking, uh, tearing a hole in reality.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
No. Don't worry, you can't actually do that unless it's plugged in.
Mm,
And they kind of seemed like kind of like hum ha kind of thing, and then
I probably still don't want to risk it. I um mm, maybe deity magic and that should not mix.
Uh, hmm, perhaps.
But otherwise, yeah, that sounds really good. I it's good to have something like that on hand. Some kids really need something to play with.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I've got all this nonsense in my pockets. Uh, he takes out, like, um, he takes out a watch, a pocket watch, clicks it open and close, um, puts it back, uh, takes out, uh, like an apple core and then just like looks at it and puts it back like, all right, I'll have to throw that out. Gets a yo-yo.
uh Daisy's gonna be a little pest about this and just the
Oh, I didn't know you had a hammer space.
Oh, mm, it's not a hammer space.
yeah, you can sort of tell from their grin they know it's not a hammer space.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like,
Really? But it looks like it functions the same way as a hammer space.
Now, I, if I remember my uh, history and development of magic, you probably had an equivalent to a bag of holding, uh, even way back when.
Mm, hammer space.
I'm not sure. I don't, did tunes even exist back then? I'm not sure when they started. I really need to figure out the history of them. So, there's erasures and it's not a hammer space.
never know.
Hammer spaces could have existed before Toons.
I don't. He makes a face like he's not sure if he can argue that point.
Yeah, Daisy's having too much fun with this. I'm sorry, Professor. They're not dropping this. They're gonna call it a hammer space.
Yeah.
Like forever now, probably.
Oh, that's okay.
Bag of holding, portable hammer space. Your pockets, hammer space.
Uh huh. Oh, man.
They are a large agent of chaos. They like teasing people.
Oh, absolutely. uh, he's like just literal enough that like he can be strung along a little bit before he catches on. Uh.
Yeah, I think when Professor finally does cotton on, Daisy's just gonna give them like that "who me" kind of expression.
uh, he's just amused.
And
Hey, you offered drinks.
Yes. Uh, well, mostly tea, but if you see something else in here that you like, uh, you can have it.
they're very, very seriously considering that radioactive fuel that they know that you have in your pantry.
Uh-huh.
'Cause they're like, I could try that and it probably wouldn't hurt me. But then they're like, maybe not. And they'll like pick something a little bit more reasonable, but maybe still something out there, like something that is still edible, but
Mm.
maybe that they haven't tried before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Maybe like, some sort of, like, wild alien juice mix or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Uh, I'm trying to think of what, if it would have like a goofy effect or something.
I mean,
Oh,
that would be funny.
it like, uh, it gives your voice like reverb.
Oh God, good on you, Professor. They they're going to be playing around with that for a little while then in the kitchen,
Yeah.
like the kind of just bunch of like words and stuff like um echo kind of thing and just
Yeah,
um
yeah. Making vowel noises at extreme volumes.
I don't know if you ever did as a kid like the those like little like portable fans where you could bring
Yes.
your mouth up to them and you get to go and
Yes.
the noise gets like just that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness.
Actually, okay, I need to um
Mm.
Daisy's gonna ask if this is oh, sorry. A bird just hit the window and it made me
Oh.
jump.
Oh dear.
No, it's fine. It like sort of like took it at like an angle and then sort of like pushed off,
Hmm.
but still made me jump.
Yeah.
And they're going to ask if like if this is like consumable by like mortals and what mortals, just out of curiosity and stuff.
Oh, the funny voice drink?
Yeah.
Um, he'll think to himself, a moment. Um, Probably, like, ask to look at the bottle, take a closer look at the, uh, listed ingredients, um, and, go like, uh, yeah, that ought to be, uh, fine for. Let's see. I think the only thing is, uh, anybody, unless they have, uh, an allergy to mango.
Hmm. Okay. Cool.
Now I need to roll something. I mean, that's not very great, but that was a sleight of hand.
What are they doing?
Sorry, Professor. They're trying to steal some of it.
I don't think he hardly just, like, reacts except to, like, laugh and shake his head because, like, you can take stuff. He doesn't seem to care.
Uh, uh, um, yeah, no, Daisy's maybe the not the best influence when it comes to like people's property and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're responsible enough to check that it would be safe for like people like other people to have,
Mm-hmm.
but then they're like, okay, no, but this could be very fun to have, like if I need it for like kids and stuff, so they're just like gonna swipe it. It's just like yoink, kind of like a couple of bottles.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, if you take all of them, Uh, I won't be able to. Hmm. Uh. Have to go to uh like June 6 again to get more.
They think, and then they're gonna put two back.
Thank you.
Um, maybe I could get some more sometime. Hmm. I don't know where June 6 is, though.
Um. Hmm. Far. I think. Uh. You'd have to at least know where it is. Uh. To get there. Even if you're a deity. Um. Which depending on how good you are at directions, might be able to convey to you with a map. Only I don't think you've left the planet before, or at least the immediate vicinity of it. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
Eh.
they making a face, and they're gonna put one more back.
Tell you what, I'll let you know when I do stop by and get some more.
Really?
Sure.
Neat. I've never been off planet before. That sounds fun.
Mm. Yes, it could be very interesting.
You've traveled a lot, haven't you?
I have.
Do Do you want to?
To travel? Yes. I didn't originally. Was just sort of forced from my home. And for a while, all I wanted was to get back. But I changed my mind. Now I can hardly imagine staying anywhere for very long.
Mm,
At least all at once.
That's fair enough. It's, well, some people like to travel and some people don't. But those things don't necessarily mean that the person is traveling or not.
Yes, that's true.
But I'm glad that you like to explore.
Me too. It's one of the I don't know, one of the things in my life that I get the most enjoyment out of.
I'm glad you found what makes you passionate.
Hmm. He just smiles.
Hmm.
I'm gonna roll a d2, see if they bring up something else.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that because just the way that the professor sort of like phrased that about like not sticking in one place for
Hmm.
long,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just just sort of like I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to phrase this because that kind of stuck with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
don't don't forget about the people that you meet.
I never do.
Mm. Yeah, that's all. Like they're not going to push that subject at all. They just want to like make sure because they're not exactly someone who sticks around in one spot either, but
Mm-hmm.
they also know the effect that someone can have on other people.
Oh yeah, and like no insight really needed. Like Daisy can tell that Professor really means that. Especially considering earlier the importance that at least his culture of origin gave to memory, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Daisy's sort of gonna like nod a little bit to that, and then
And I'll always come visit you, no matter where you are.
Oh no.
Yep. You're stuck with me now.
Oh boy. Well, at least ask the ellipsis before you come in if you can't bring yourself to knock.
Oh, I knocked.
Did you?
I didn't say I knocked loud.
uh. All right. Well, as long as one of us gives permission.
No, mm, I remember what happened last time. I didn't ask the ellipsis for permission, so uh,
Mm.
won't be doing that again.
Mm-hmm. Probably one of those things that just doesn't mix well. Uh, the higher powers of mortals and mm, the powers of deities.
Yeah, probably best not to mm, mess around with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say I didn't ask permission this time.
No, no, suppose I can't.
They're just kind of grinning, like, yeah, this is not the last time they're probably going to do that.
uh, he seems alright with that.
Yeah, because, like, if the professor asked not to be, like, jump scared again, Daisy would respect that wish, but they're
Mm-hmm.
also a little bit of a gremlin and they like doing things like that.
Yeah, and likewise, like he knows he can tolerate a little chaos, like that, or a large chaos, as the case may be. Um, and that if he's ever in uh, a way where ever in a state where he can't, the ellipsis would notify Daisy.
Hmm. Yeah, and hey, at least the professor actually like has the benefit of Daisy will always ask the ellipsis for permission first. That's not the case with everyone.
No. Now, if he's outside the ellipsis, then
Yeah, that's free game.
yeah, exactly. Uh,
Oh god, that was cute.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have much more to add.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no, I think they probably he probably has tea. Uh, maybe Daisy tries some other funny drinks. Uh, he uh, will give them a sort of odd industrial looking fidget toy made of spare parts.
Nice. I have to remember Daisy has that now. Yeah. Daisy's probably going to tell the professor a little bit about some of the adventures they've been on, like outside of, like since they've been out.
Mm.
Probably like it's probably mostly like pretty mundane stuff. Like I met this kid over in this corner of Inkwell and we
Mm-hmm.
played this game together and then I met this person on the way home from like university over
Mm-hmm.
here and we made our way through the park or something like that and like little stories like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he likes that. That's amusing. Little stories.
Yeah.
Hmm. E.
Neat.
All right. Well, I think that will do it for us. Uh,
Yeah.
Audience, present and future, thank you for listening. We hope you all have a good time zone. Uh, and we will wish you farewell. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.